Imagine a future where your life is filled with purpose, joy, and energy. Now bring that vision into the present by letting go of destructive habits and replacing them with ones that lead to success. Stoic philosophy teaches that we shape our destiny through our thoughts, actions, and choices. By removing bad habits and cultivating good ones, we create a life of wisdom, peace, and virtue. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." So start today. Remember, small beginnings lead to great endings. Thank you for choosing to spend your time here. I just ask one thing: don't skip this video. Stay with me until the end, because you're not like everyone else. You're different. And that difference begins with how you choose to invest in yourself. Let's get started. Number 1. Excessive materialism. This is a prevalent issue in modern society, where individuals often equate wealth and material possessions with happiness and success. However, as Stoics believe, such pursuits can lead to dissatisfaction and detract from meaningful experiences. To overcome excessive materialism, one must adopt a more minimalist approach, focusing instead on experiences, relationships, and personal growth. One effective strategy for reducing materialistic tendencies involves reframing one's perspective on what truly matters. Instead of placing value on external markers of success like possessions, status, or appearances, individuals should focus on cultivating inner qualities such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. By prioritizing virtues, you can develop a deeper sense of fulfillment that cannot be attained through material goods alone. Another method for overcoming excessive materialism involves simplifying one's lifestyle. This might involve downsizing, decluttering, and minimizing expenses by living frugally. By limiting consumption, individuals can reduce the emphasis on material possessions and refocus their energy on experiences and relationships that bring genuine satisfaction. Additionally, practicing gratitude for what already exists can foster contentment and diminish the desire for additional acquisitions. It's important to recognize that material possessions themselves are not inherently problematic. It's the attachment and obsession with them that can lead to dissatisfaction. To address this issue, individuals can practice non-attachment by acknowledging that material possessions are transient and impermanent. By embracing impermanence, you can let go of attachment to items and view them merely as tools or resources to be used rather than sources of identity or self-worth. Number 2. Seeking external validation. This is a common habit that many people struggle with. It can be tempting to constantly seek the approval and validation of others in order to feel good about ourselves. However, this habit can have negative consequences on our mental health and well-being. When we rely too heavily on external validation, we can easily become dependent on the opinions and approval of others. This means that our happiness becomes tied to things outside of ourselves, which can lead to feelings of insecurity and unhappiness when those external factors are not present or are taken away. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of self-approval and inner contentment. Instead of seeking external validation, Stoics encourage us to focus on developing our own inner strength and character. By cultivating virtues such as wisdom, courage, and justice, we can find a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction within ourselves. This type of self-reliance allows us to maintain our sense of happiness, even in the face of adversity or criticism from others. In addition to improving our mental health, seeking external validation can also have negative effects on our relationships. When we constantly seek validation from others, we may come across as needy or insecure. This can damage our relationships and cause others to view us in a negative light. By focusing on our own inner growth and development, we can build stronger and more authentic relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. Overall, seeking external validation can have serious negative consequences on our mental health, relationships, and overall well-being. By adopting the Stoic philosophy of self-reliance and inner strength, we can break free from this harmful habit and find true happiness and fulfillment within ourselves. Number 3, rumination. Here's a common habit that can lead to significant emotional distress. Constantly dwelling on past mistakes or worrying about the future can take a toll on our mental health and well-being. When we ruminate, we tend to get stuck in negative thoughts, which can create feelings of guilt, shame, and anxiety. These negative emotions can prevent us from moving forward and enjoying life in the present moment. One effective way to overcome rumination is by practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness is a core concept in Stoicism, which encourages individuals to live in the present moment and focus on their immediate experiences. By being mindful, we learn to let go of the past and stop worrying about the future. Instead, we concentrate on what is happening right now and how we can navigate through it with calmness and clarity. Practicing mindfulness involves paying attention to our senses, thoughts, and emotions without judgment. We observe our thoughts without getting caught up in them or reacting impulsively. By doing so, we gain insight into our thought patterns and develop a greater awareness of our mental and emotional states. This increased self-awareness helps us to manage our thoughts and emotions more effectively, reducing the frequency and intensity of negative rumination. Another technique to eliminate rumination is to focus on what we can control in any given situation. Stoicism reminds us that we cannot change the past or predict the future, but we can control our reactions to events by focusing on our actions and decisions. Instead of dwelling on past mistakes or worrying about the future, we can alleviate stress and anxiety. Number 4, don't fear change. Embracing change can be difficult, especially if you're used to sticking with familiar routines and habits. But sometimes change is necessary for personal growth and improvement. In fact, many successful people credit their achievements to taking risks and embracing change. So how do you overcome your fear of change? Firstly, it's important to understand that change is not something to be feared. Instead, it should be seen as an opportunity for growth and learning. By opening yourself up to new experiences, you can broaden your horizons and discover new aspects of yourself. Additionally, stepping out of your comfort zone can help you build resilience and confidence. One practical strategy for overcoming the fear of change is to start small. Rather than jumping headfirst into a major life change, try making small changes in your daily routine or habits. For example, try a new workout routine or eat a new type of food. As you see these small changes working positively in your life, you will begin to trust yourself more and feel more comfortable with bigger changes down the road. Another useful approach is to focus on the potential benefits of change. What possibilities might open up for you if you embrace change? How might it improve your life or career? Visualizing these positive outcomes can help you stay motivated and inspired during the transition period. Finally, remember that change is a process, not a destination. It takes time to adjust and adapt, but with patience and persistence, you can overcome your fear of change and thrive in new situations. Be kind to yourself throughout the process, and don't be afraid to ask for support from friends, family, or professionals. Number 5, stop worrying about the trivial. One of the most damaging habits that people often struggle with is excessive worrying about trivial matters. This constant state of agitation can stem from a variety of sources, such as social media, news, gossip, or even personal insecurities. However, it's crucial to recognize that much of this information is irrelevant and does not contribute to one's happiness or fulfillment. Stoicism teaches us to prioritize our time and energy on things that matter rather than getting bogged down by unnecessary worries. By adopting a Stoic mindset, we can train ourselves to focus on what's essential and filter out the noise. This doesn't mean that we need to completely isolate ourselves from society, but rather learn to selectively engage with the world while maintaining our inner peace. To eliminate this habit, we can start by identifying the areas in our lives where we waste the most energy on inconsequential matters. This could include constantly checking our phone messages, feeling anxious about future events, or fretting over past mistakes. Once we identify these patterns, we can challenge them using Stoic reasoning. Ask ourselves whether these worries will make a difference in the long run and whether they align with our values and goals. Another technique that can help is setting boundaries around our time and attention. We can limit our exposure to sources of anxiety, such as avoiding certain social media platforms or avoiding excessive TV watching. By creating space for reflection and mindfulness, we can cultivate a sense of inner peace that will help us better handle unexpected challenges. Ultimately, the key to overcoming the habit of worrying about trivial matters lies in developing a deeper understanding of what truly matters in life. By adopting a Stoic perspective, we can learn to focus our energy on things that promote growth, joy, and connection with others. With consistent effort and practice, we can transform our minds and hearts to live more authentically and with greater purpose. Number 6. Never seek revenge. Seeking revenge may provide temporary satisfaction, but it ultimately leads to negative consequences for both parties involved. According to Stoic philosophy, focusing on the well-being of others and finding inner peace are far more valuable pursuits than seeking revenge. Revenge can be harmful because it creates a cycle of negativity and hurt. It can also lead to feelings of guilt, shame, and regret. Moreover, it consumes a lot of mental and emotional energy that could otherwise be directed toward positive goals. The Stoics believed that individuals should aim to be indifferent to insults and wrongdoings, as they are beyond their control. Instead, we should focus on improving ourselves and the world around us. They believe that true power comes from within, and that we should strive to be virtuous and moral in all our actions. Forgiving those who have wronged us can be incredibly difficult, but it is a powerful tool for achieving inner peace and moving forward. When we forgive, we release ourselves from the burden of holding a grudge and allow ourselves to heal. Forgiveness also promotes compassion, empathy, and understanding, which are essential qualities for building healthy relationships. In addition, seeking revenge can damage our relationships and reputation, whereas forgiveness can strengthen our connections with others. When we forgive, we show others that we trust them and value our relationship, which can foster deeper bonds and mutual respect. Eliminating the desire for revenge requires self-reflection and introspection. We must examine our own beliefs and motivations to determine why we seek revenge and whether it serves any purpose. Practicing mindfulness and meditation can also help us develop a more detached perspective and reduce our emotional reactivity. By embracing the Stoic perspective on forgiveness, we can break the cycle of revenge and create a more positive, fulfilling life. Focusing on our own growth and development and extending compassion to others can lead to greater well-being and happiness. Ultimately, seeking revenge may bring temporary relief, but it fails to address the underlying issues and only perpetuates negativity. Number 7. Stop wasting your time. Time is finite, and therefore, it is essential to make every moment count. The Stoics believed that time was a gift, and that it was up to each individual to use it wisely. Unfortunately, Many of us waste time on activities that do not contribute to our overall well-being or personal growth. Here are some ways to eliminate this habit and make the most of your time. Firstly, identify your priorities and focus on them. The Stoics believed that one should focus on what they can control, and similarly, we should focus on what is important to us. Determine what truly matters to you and allocate your time accordingly. Eliminate any activities that do not align with your values or goals. Secondly, adopt a proactive approach to problem solving. Rather than waiting for things to happen, take action towards your goals. The Stoics believed that virtue was its own reward, and that by taking action towards our goals, we can find contentment and satisfaction. Lastly, practice gratitude. Gratitude allows us to appreciate the good things in life and cultivate a sense of contentment. By focusing on what we have rather than what we lack, we can live a more fulfilling life. Remember, time is a precious resource, and we only get so much of it. By applying Stoic principles, we can make the most of every moment and live a more fulfilling life. So start today by identifying your priorities, taking a proactive approach to problem solving, and practicing gratitude. Number 8, stop looking for problems. It's easy to fall into the trap of constantly searching for problems, but as Stoics teach us, it's far more productive to instead focus on what we can control and work towards solving those issues. When we adopt a problem-solving mindset, we move from a place of reactivity to a place of proactivity. One way to achieve this is by reframing the way we think about problems. Instead of seeing them as negative experiences, we can view them as challenges to be overcome. With this new perspective, we can approach problems with confidence and determination, knowing that overcoming them will lead to personal growth and development. Another strategy is to focus on the things we can control and let go of the rest. Oftentimes, we expend unnecessary energy worrying about things outside of our control. By letting go of these concerns, we free ourselves up to focus on the things that matter most. Additionally, we must remember that obstacles are opportunities in disguise. The Stoics believed that difficulties were sent to test our resolve and strengthen our character. So when faced with a challenge, embrace it and see it as an opportunity to grow and improve. Finally, we should always strive to maintain a positive attitude. Negativity breeds negativity, and it can be difficult to find solutions when we're feeling down or defeated. Keeping a positive outlook helps us approach problems with a clear head and open heart, increasing our chances of finding effective solutions. By shifting our perspective and adopting a problem-solving mindset, we can begin to live a life that aligns with Stoic values. Let's stop looking for problems and start finding solutions. Number 9. Impulsivity. Impulsivity is a common habit that often leads to poor decisions and regret. It involves acting on sudden desires or whims without careful consideration or reflection. However, the Stoics encourage their followers to resist this temptation and instead practice a more deliberate and considered approach to decision-making. To overcome impulsivity, it's necessary to slow down and reflect on the potential consequences of our actions before taking them. This means asking ourselves if our desired course of action aligns with our values and long-term goals. It also means considering the potential risks and benefits and weighing them against each other. The Stoics believed that emotions could cloud judgment, leading to irrational decisions. Therefore, they emphasize the importance of detaching oneself from one's emotions and approaching situations objectively. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions altogether, but rather learning to recognize and acknowledge them without allowing them to dictate our actions. Another key aspect of overcoming impulsivity is developing self-discipline. This means having the ability to postpone immediate gratification in favor of longer-term benefits. For example, someone who wants to save money should resist the urge to spend it impulsively and instead put it aside for future use. In addition to these practical strategies, it's important to cultivate a sense of inner peace and tranquility. This comes from accepting the things we cannot change and focusing on the things we can. By living in accordance with nature and embracing the present moment, we can develop a sense of calm and clarity that enables us to make better decisions. Overall, eliminating impulsivity requires a commitment to deliberate, thoughtful decision-making and a willingness to exercise self-discipline. By following the wisdom of the Stoics, we can learn to resist the allure of instant gratification and instead choose a path that leads to greater fulfillment and success. Number 10. Stop complaining. This is a habit that many people struggle with. We may complain about the weather, our jobs, our relationships, or any number of things that we feel are not going the way we want them to. However, complaining rarely leads to meaningful solutions and can even create more stress and negativity in our lives. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and to accept what we cannot. Complaining is often a manifestation of frustration and anger at things that are beyond our control. By accepting that some things are simply out of our hands, we can avoid getting bogged down in negative emotions and instead channel our energy into areas where we can make a difference. Instead of complaining, we can focus on taking action. If there is something we are unhappy with, we can work to change it. This might involve seeking out new opportunities, communicating with others, or taking steps to improve our own circumstances. By taking action, we can turn our situation around and create positive changes in our lives. It is also important to recognize that sometimes bad things happen to us, and complaining won't change that. In these cases, it can be helpful to practice gratitude for what we do have and look for the lessons or opportunities that can come from difficult situations. Ultimately, eliminating complaining requires a shift in mindset from one of negativity to one of positivity and action. By focusing on what we can control and taking action where we can transform our lives and become happier, more fulfilled person. In conclusion, Stoicism offers valuable guidance on habits and behaviors that individuals should work to eliminate from their lives. By adopting Stoic principles such as simplicity, self-reliance, and mindfulness, you can cultivate a life of wisdom, tranquility, and virtue. While it may take time and effort to eliminate these habits, remember that Stoicism is not about perfection, but about making continuous progress towards a better life. So, start today and work towards a more fulfilling life. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if this content was rewarding for your life.